Good evening. We'd like to call to order the Township Committee meeting for Monday, March the 10th. If you're willing and able, please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to move on to open public meetings notice. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was sent to Cranbury Press, Trenton Times, Home News Tribune on January 3rd, 2025, posted on the Township's website and sent to those who requested a copy of this notice. And now roll call, Mr. Christopher?
Here.
Ms. El-Badawi?
Here.
Dr. Rogers? Here. Mr. Scott?
Here.
And Mayor Knierim?
Here.
Thank you.
Yep.
Tonight, we're here to adopt the 2025 municipal budget. I'm pleased to tell everyone that there will not be a tax increase again this year. We've been very fortunate. We've been able to keep our budget pretty stable. There were some increases this year due to contractual things. However, the budget is $14,096,480. Our revenues have gone up slightly. Our assessed value has gone up slightly. And with that being said, we'll be using $2,220,000 worth of surplus. We continue to be able to replenish the surplus that we're using. And we're watching that closely to make sure that we don't have to increase taxes in the near future. But that's pretty much where we are this year. We worked hard on it. My departments worked hard on it, and we had a good budget meeting where we, went over everything. And so no municipal tax increase this year.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody, obviously the Township Committee, for their commitment of making a really smooth budget meeting, but really for all the hard work that you and your team did, Denise. And I think we're really, really proud that it's almost a 10-year history with the lack of increases in municipal. In fact, one year we actually went down. So I just think it's absolutely commendable and another reason that makes this town terrific to live in and be a resident in. So thank you.
You're welcome. So now we open up the hearing. If there's any questions from the public, you can come up and ask questions. If not, we'll ask for adoption of the resolution for the budget. I'd like to move.
Second.
Okay, we're going to move on to roll call for that vote. Mr. Christopher?
Yes.
Mrs. El-Badawi?
Yes.
Dr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Knierim?
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any changes or additions to our agenda this evening?
No.
Okay, hearing none. Anyone like to go first on their updates? Oh, sorry, Township Committee meeting. Can someone move to approve the minutes from February 24th, 2025?
I'll move the February 24th minutes.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
I'll move on to roll call. Mr. Christopher?
Yes.
Mrs. El-Badawi?
Yes.
Dr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Knierim?
Yes.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, members of our committee, who would like to go first and fill us in on what you've been liaisoning?
I don't mind going. I don't have too much to report. The DRC meeting was canceled, and we had one planning board meeting, which you were actually in attendance with me at. It was almost 3 hours. Amazon sent an application they're trying to reconfigure their parking lot, and they took a lot of, so the purpose of their application is they're trying to create a designated spot to park empty trailers. And they took a lot of feedback from the board and decided they would come back again at a future date. And there was, at the time, a retirement cake, I guess, also for Robin Toulouse. She'll be moving on. It's and a welcome to our new secretary as well. And the chairperson announced that she will be also moving out of town. So a little bit of change there. And that's it. The library board is this week. That's the only board that I had that met. Thank you.
I'm just really curious. Does Amazon have any place that they're suggesting that when trucks have to wait for their slot, you know, how trucks seem to be on the sides of the road? Do they have any besides, storing their trucks, storing the people that are driving the trucks that have to get into a slot at a particular time. That's not something they.
That wasn't at all part of the discussion. I mean, the discussion was really solely around where they could park their empty containers. And I think that there was a lot of effort on the planning board side to try to make sure that these vehicles are not unnecessarily on the public, the public road or in public spaces. Did you have any other?
Yeah, I think what they were describing is within their complex, within their gates, they were having a congestion issue with loading and unloading, and then having idle people have a spot when they had empty trailers. So the purpose is to reconfigure within their space and their campus.
But your specific question was not addressed, was not brought up.
Yeah, because
It was
one of
a-
the issues that we have is idling trucks on the side of the road that are waiting, like that get here early so that they can get into their slots at a particular time. Wouldn't that be a really great thing for them to actually have a spot where they could wait on their campus?
The request was for them to do a traffic study to make sure there wasn't a negative or if there was to identify a positive impact on that. I will tell you that your question, it was alluded to in public comment, that they were like, well, could this potentially
Yeah.
get those trucks off the road? Or is this, or will it in fact do the opposite? And now you've freed up more trucks to come in and it will create and amplify that problem. So that's what the pushback was, well, the request, which is go do a traffic study on what this means for you and see if there's positive or negative impact.
Yeah.
And I think that they have rescheduled and they took the date, if I'm not
It's
mistaken.
not next month, it's the following.
Yeah, so they'll be in May.
Yeah.
They'll be back on the planning board's agenda.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great if there was a clear to the planning board, hey, this is something. I don't know how, maybe, I don't know.
And we
sure
also,
how to get
it was also
to the-
recommended that they go to the DRC also
Oh,
if they
okay.
wanted
Maybe
to
at the
attend one of those
DRC.
meetings.
That
but-
question could be asked.
Hopefully, the diligence will be done and ready by May the 1st. Their witness kind of rolled their eyes to that May 1st date, so
Yeah.
hopefully they can get it done. If not,
Yeah.
probably June.
And who was present there was an architect that was really solely tasked with just looking at that parking spot for those containers, not the issue that you're asking. She's not even from here, she's from Arizona.
Right.
And did they confirm the traffic study?
They did not
Meeting.
confirm anything.
Meeting.
That suggestion was
Conditional.
made.
Yeah, it's conditional
Yeah.
that when they come back, there was no motion or vote on it.
They will be doing it. I mean,
Yeah.
They should be, yes.
Yeah, they should
before
be.
May.
Yeah, that's what,
So
and again,
leave to anybody.
the project is within their campus, right? So they're not doing a traffic study on the external roads.
Okay.
They're doing a traffic
Oh,
study
yeah.
on the flow of their traffic, which you can draw some conclusions on how that's going to impact the public roads.
Thank you.
Certainly.
I'll go next because I haven't had any of my committees or meetings. This is my week. This is my week, so I have nothing to report.
Okay. So the next environmental commission meeting is next Monday. It's the third Monday, but I have a couple things that have come through that I would like to just ask. The Girl Scouts kiosk, they came, they presented, all their information has been vetted, by the EC, by Denise, by me, so all that information is ready to go into the kiosk in Cranbury Brook Preserve. They're asking for one minor update, and they have the money to pay for it. They would like to put a sign, just like the one on Main Street, Kona's Eagle Scout. They'd like to put that sign to kind of advertise and show people that it's a Monarch Way station. I don't think it's necessary for them to come in, so I just kind of wanted a verbal, that we've updated, we're okay with it. It's on our public property, the public's property. So are we good with that?
Oh, while we were waiting to start, I read your email and saw the pictures. Everything was great.
Okay, great. Thank you. And sorry for last minute. I'm having, as I said, little issues with that. Great. I got another email since through, and this one has to do with community solar. And I think it's a good idea. There's been some tweaks to community solar and their billing. It's a lot more streamlined. One of the things that solar landscaping has reached out to me and asked if we could do an outreach to the community, just reminding them about community solar, what its purpose is, and some of the updates. And there's space available, more space available for residents to sign up. They did a quick outreach for one community, Monroe, and they got 300 more people signed up. So, and another community, they got 90 more. That was in Westfield. So, I could work on a little bit, a blurb, maybe not this mayor's e-blast, but another, the following one. Just a reminder that people can sign up, and it's a good thing. I know I'm saving money, and I know other people that are saving money by signing up for community solar.
A quick question on that. The original intent, I think the priority for the, to take advantage of solar was supposed to go toward affordable housing.
Yes, it still is.
Did they have any reports on like how that's breaking down? I think it was like an 80-20 rule, might have even been a 90-10. Like what was left over on those fields, you could then go on a waiting list, which I took advantage of until I had the billing problem, which now I
Right.
may look at it again.
No, because it's now
Like,
billed by one person, not a third party.
Right,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
thank
terrific.
goodness. It is terrific.
Yeah, so I may
Believe
look
me.
at that again
Yeah.
because obviously who doesn't want to save? But
They
the
have
original
not said
intent.
it. Yeah, they have not. I didn't ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could we find that out? Because I think it's also good to know that a program that you're signing up for, that there's people that really need it and are benefiting ahead of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, again, who
I
doesn't
think
wanna-
there are a lot more spots.
Yeah.
I think you can reach out to other, my understanding is other projects that are not just in our area. So there are a lot more spots.
Okay.
So I don't think that like an affordable, you would be taking a spot of an affordable housing person.
Okay.
So,
It would just
but
be-
I'll double
yeah.
check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's a really great question. And then we just need to update the current information that I think is, where's it located? DPW, I think it's on DPW. Yeah, it's on the website. So we'll have to find where it is on the website and just update it. So I'll do that too. The other thing is, what's the third thing? Oh, I tried to, I have to, for the community energy grant that we got, I was on a meeting and I have to reapply through a different portal. And I tried to reapply and I'm now waiting for a password to get into that portal. So it's supposed to be done by this Friday and I don't have the information to get into the portal. So I am still trying to get that money into our township. I just wanted to update you on that. Shade Tree April 3rd meeting is canceled and rescheduled for April 10th, 10 a.m. I went to the zoning board meeting and it was basically a preliminary and final site plan for roof over patio renovations and canopy at the Chinmai Mission, and that was approved. The one thing that I thought was really great is it brought up an issue with nuisance flooding on Cranbury Neck, and one of the neighbors brought up that if runoff could be put in a different location, that maybe that might alleviate some of the, or not increase the nuisance flooding that happens on Cranbury Neck Road. But it's a county road and that makes complications and they have to reach out to the county, et cetera. But I thought that was great. We're all working together. That's it.
Any questions for Barbara? Okay. Mr. Scott.
Good evening. I didn't have any meetings, but I have some updates from Parks. First, I see that, well, she was there. Mrs. Kinney is here from Helene Cody, and they're going to hopefully present and discuss installation of a sculpture to go into Memorial Park dedicated to Helene. So hopefully they'll go over the details of that. I know if you guys recall, I mentioned that Parks is looking into the possibility for 2026 of installing a splash pad, possibly in Village Park. As a part of the groundwork for that, they need to have the town engineer figure out what the possibility of getting water into the park would be, and that's going to cost us some money. So instead of me asking tonight if you guys are all interested in a splash pad, the next Parks meeting is coming up next week. So I will go back to them and ask them to put together a presentation for the TC so that you guys can take a look at this idea of a splash pad and express your interest or your disinterest. I don't think it'd be fair for me to represent them when they have most of the details and their ideas percolating. So hopefully we can get them on an agenda in the next 3 or 4 meetings. Chess tables have risen their head again. Apparently there are chess tables being put in place by the school within the interior courtyard. So the Parks Committee is asking us again to reconsider placement of the chess tables into Heritage Park, as they feel it would be redundant to have chess tables in the inner courtyard of the school and then just across the parking lot by the library. So, I put it to you guys what your opinions are on chess tables, to either be in the original location of Heritage Park or to be along the walkway by the library. Parks has expressed their displeasure with that. So I put it back to y'all.
For discussion this evening?
Yeah. Parks meeting is coming up and they are asking again and again. So
If the school is putting them in the
No.
inner,
So I checked with Jen Disler about the chess tables at the school. She said, I know the game top table was an option, but not sure if that is even the one the school will go with.
We
So
don't
they
know.
have not made a decision about it.
okay.
and even if they did,
Just
if it's
in-
in the inner courtyard of
Correct,
the
it would
school,
only be
that
for the
wouldn't be publicly
students.
It wouldn't be
accessible.
public
Correct.
access,
It would
yeah.
only be for the students.
So that
Yeah, this is public as well as students. So
Right.
Yeah, I don't think one has to do with the other.
Okay. And they haven't made a decision either way?
No.
Okay.
So
I think we voted on it and I think we should, I think it's something that we all agreed on, of its location and the finances make sense. So
that's one.
I'm just stating my, I'm just stating my
Just a straw
opinion,
poll.
like I'm
I'm
just,
just gonna go back to them and tell them what you guys.
You're asking for feedback.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're asking for feedback.
Correct.
Any feedback?
No, I mean, I think that this issue was decided upon. I don't know that it's appropriate for us to be reopening this again. We're setting precedent for reopening all other decisions that we make. And so I don't know that this is giving me anxiety. Thank you.
Not having been here for the previous decision, I would defer to the 4 of you who were here
Wow.
for that decision.
Thanks, Rob.
And I'll be glad to hear. We don't certainly need to take meeting time now, but somebody can fill me in on all the gory details apparently in the location of said chess tables. But I would certainly defer to what was ever decided.
The only thing I would add to that, I agree, I don't want to set precedent that we're second guessing any decision that we make. But I think it's in everybody's best interest to do a little bit of a post audit on this particular decision and how it was done. We had some solid volunteers on the Parks Department provide some information and feedback to this committee. And it shouldn't just be ignored. The only thing I would say is that we should review that and do some due diligence about that particular process and make sure that we don't open ourselves up to have our votes second guessed, that we've done things the right way the first time and that we have agreement on that. So I would just say that we do that, but I agree setting precedent on revoting on something that we've already closed the book on is room for anxiety and a dangerous precedent.
Kind of what I thought, but I to their credit, I think they feel like that process where we moved it from Heritage to the library to them they were kind of blindsided by it, and that's what they expressed to me, which I tend to agree with. I felt like it was done hastily and it wasn't really clear why it was happening. Library didn't seem particularly interested one way or the other, and here we are. So there's just a little bit of acrimony.
And I would say again, like, that's what makes our liaison work so important,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's what makes us being good liaisons and diligent liaisons and consistent liaisons to these committees is because we really are, at the end of the day, we're the representative that sits here and
Yeah.
make sure that we are representing exactly what happened in those meetings. So again, I would say that that's just another lesson here is that we make sure our Ts are crossed and our Is are dotted and that they agree when we come here to represent them that we're doing it in the way that they expected.
Yeah.
That no one's blindsided by that, right?
I think that's a fair point. And I think, we switched liaisons because this process spread out over 2 years. And so we switched liaisons and feelings were changed. And I think that the Parks Committee as it stands now feels like they weren't listened to, but I think it's reasonable. I mean, we did vote on it, so it's not. So.
And in my personal opinion, you guys know it on liaison work is that, especially on some formidable committees, should be consistent.
Yeah.
And that if we do tend to switch things up year to year, I think it's great for our own experience to experience different boards and commissions. But some of these, if they have big projects that are going on or things that are meaningful to them, consistent liaison work could actually benefit everybody. But that's
Agreed.
my opinion on it. And I don't expect everyone to share that. So.
Matt,
Yes.
I am questioning something different, the water slide thing. How about they just send us information through an email first? I mean, do they need to do a presentation?
Well, it seems like what Denise is saying is that we need to make a decision soon, right?
Well, what I said was, let's not use resources if the TC is not on board with this type of project.
Right.
So
How about
it's
sending?
not that we're saying yes or no to it right off the bat, because they don't even have a cost yet.
No, but don't.
But to even have the engineer spend $10,000 to look into something, you know what I'm saying, and study it and survey it and come up with the information is a waste if it's not something that the TC thinks is a good idea.
I mean, I would assume that if they send us an email, hopefully they've learned from past projects that they've done, that they need to, make a plan, tell us how much it costs, have the background. And if we could read it, maybe we could, before they even have to come in, we could kind of get a feel for whether that's something we could get behind.
Yeah, I think that's fine, but they're not going to have all those answers yet,
No,
right? Like
that's the
they're not,
problem.
they're going to have any cost, but this is
No.
like, okay, it's the same way with the playground.
Yeah.
Pictures were sent in of other like playgrounds. So
Right.
this is the type of splash pad we're looking at. This is the size, approximately. So just maybe basic scope of project,
Yeah. They can do that. I
who,
mean,
what, when, where, why kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, they
Basic.
do have a PowerPoint, but again, it is it's all over the place because it could be a small project, could be a larger project. As far as
Well,
cost,
just getting water to it is going to be an issue.
Right.
So that in itself.
I mean, do they have a desire to make a presentation?
I believe so. Yeah.
I mean, if they sent us a pre-read and then did a presentation, right, I think we'd certainly listen to them, right? I think, yes.
Yeah,
if
I
they-
just, look,
they could
the last thing
plan
I
it
want to
out.
do is have a host of volunteers come in here and we just pummel them with questions, which is exactly what's going to happen because they don't have answers to those questions. So I would say that at the next Parks meeting, pummel them with questions that you believe that we'll ask them. And if most of them are, we don't know, it's probably premature and they need to do more homework, again, with a local town, another one that's got a splash pad.
Oh,
Maybe talk to their Parks and Rec to see if they could get an estimated cost for that size. Like, again, I think they do a little research in an existing splash pad.
They have done that.
Okay.
I saw that at the last meeting. It is a bit of a catch-22 as far as cost because water is going to be an expensive part of it. So if we're going to spend $10,000 to have the engineer look at it, that might be water down the drain,
Right.
so to speak. But
Pun intended.
pun intended. So are we in agreement then that they can send?
Let's start
Yeah, here we are examining how we do things. Like, let's
Yeah.
start with information. I'm better with information and I can mull over it versus someone just kind of.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'll let them know at the next meeting and they can put something together. And And we're not under time constraint here, so they can put something together that is a little more cogent, and
Okay,
I'll have them send it to you guys.
okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
That's a lot.
Yep.
Okay. I don't really have any updates. I've been out of town for the better part of, I don't know, a month, it feels like. But was able, as Amanda addressed, attend the planning board meeting for a couple hours the other night. And I'm happy to report that this room is significantly cooler than it was during our planning board meeting. I think we had windows.
Still,
We had windows open at that point. It was really hot in here, so it's still warm in here, but it's significantly cooler. So I don't have many updates that I have. I know the craft fair is coming up this weekend. They're still looking for volunteers. I'll be screaming and yelling about that in my mayor's update. And there's community service hours for kids that are available also for the craft fair. So it's a little bit kooky on the Sign Up Genius to find it, but there's opportunity for high school students for hours there. So besides attending, it'd be great if anyone had some time to volunteer this weekend. But that's all I have. And then we have no subcommittees, but we do have a department head that we're going to hear from the Elaine Cody Foundation. It was under department head, but we didn't know where to put it.
yeah, it's on
Parks
the-
and Rec, technically.
Yep.
Yes, yes, please.
And make sure you turn on the one side that stays red. I don't know if it's the right or left.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you've got one, that'd be great. I was gonna pop it up on my
I'll take one
laptop.
if you have enough
Now I can
for
just,
the record. If not, then I don't. Do you
I
guys all want
have
one?
mine online. I'm okay.
Okay, cool.
yeah, just freaking
Thank
take
you.
my notes right on the paper. Thank you very much.
Hit one of the buttons that it stays on red. Just hit one. There you go.
Well, thank you for having me come tonight. My name is Noelle Kinney. I think I know almost everybody. And we, Linda Morris from the foundation, we had gone to the Parks Department first, who then, was excited about the project, and then I'm coming here tonight to present it to you. This is all started from, I believe everybody knows the Elaine Cody Foundation and what it means to Cranbury and the 5K race on Cranbury Day. And we are looking for a way to honor Helene and the foundation in the town. And as you can see, the origami crane is the symbol of the foundation. And so we found an artist who makes these sculptures that you can see. So that's the idea behind it, placing it in Heritage Park, where there is already the wind sculptures at the start and finish of the 5K. We'd love to know your thoughts, that if, what you would want to know from us. Again, this is this is our project, so there's no expense, only if, when I've gone to the artist, there's a lot of different ways of the foundation. So some towns, I guess, who have used this artist before, they recommend the township wants to be the person who installs the concrete pad or whatever it is. But we also have, so Jerry Hansen has somebody who's looking into doing that for us, which we can also do. It's up to, whatever decisions are made.
Yeah, I think thank you for the presentation, but we all just got it today, I think. So
Yeah.
I think some of us are still kind of digesting the idea of it. I think a couple of things, and they're going to be uncomfortable to discuss, and I'm going to apologize on my own behalf. But we just discussed setting precedent, right? And questioning the way that we, that we voted on something, right? And make sure that we do that. We have precedent in place on how we have had people memorialized in our township, whether it's through their service in the military or through our bench program, which I'm sure that you're familiar with
Yeah.
around town. And so those have been the standard ways that we have had people, through their own cost, put something in memory of anybody. This would be unprecedented to do something for an individual, regardless of their tragic passing.
Right.
Right. So that's why it's a little bit sensitive, and I'm making sure I don't come off insensitive.
No, not at
Yeah,
all.
so
And
I think
and I
that-
want to,
yeah.
and just to clarify too, right, the foundation in town, I mean, the scholar program, we've had the amount of community service that's been given back to the town from the foundation.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking of it as Helene Cody, right? I mean,
Right.
we are coming at it from the foundation
From the
point of view.
foundational perspective.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how it would be presented on, the plaque with it. But also the gift just from the artist. If, it's a world famous artist. So,
Yeah. So I'm just like contemplating what, I don't know, again, everybody else share their thoughts and let me know, but that's one of the thoughts that ran through my head. But putting it in perspective of the foundation, and this is just something else that you're providing as a piece of art to the community, is, I hadn't thought about that kind of side of it. So that's
Right.
why we're having the discussion.
And just to make sure everybody knows too, I've been the president of the Cranbury Arts Council for many, many, many years. So my combination of a board member for the Helene Cody Foundation also combines with the Arts Council. And that's why I've been tasked too. I mean, this was a big part of my idea as the art piece of it.
And I was there were two sketches in here that
Yeah.
we reviewed. One had like almost like a pedestal base that built up, and the other was the rock.
Yeah.
And was it one or the other,
No,
or you
these
haven't
are
made
all
a
just-
decision, or these are just ideas?
Yeah,
that you
these
had?
are ideas that are sent from the artist of possibilities that have been done in other places
Right.
also. No, nothing at all. It really just, if you were going to do it this way, one of those suggestions was because a lot of parks will have the landscaping. So if you didn't want the sculpture, getting hit every time or something like that, people will put it up higher, or, kids not climbing on it or whatever.
Which was the first thought that went through my head, was
Yeah.
climbing children. Like they couldn't resist it if they wanted to.
Yeah.
I'll,
It
write
is stainless steel though. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not,
Which, and sharp.
yeah.
Just of note, there's a semi-flooding issue. Like there's a water runoff issue in Heritage Park. What is the condition of the water runoff in that general area?
I don't know in the general area, but if they're gonna put it on a concrete pad up higher, it probably won't affect the sculpture.
If that's the choice that's made.
Yeah.
I think the water runoff problem, if I'm not mistaken, only riding bikes and that, is on the west part of the trail.
Yeah, it affects the memorial, the fountain area. It affects that walking trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that side of it.
Does
If
it
I'm-
affect the current sculptures?
What sculptures?
The wind? I mean, they've got to be put in concrete.
Oh, the wind sculptures?
I don't know what they're put in. It's just like a stick in the ground.
No, it's got to be concrete on the
concrete.
bottom. It has to be.
Yeah,
It has to be like a fence post.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're at very far ends of the trail. Yeah, I've never paid attention to what's up with those. I just know that some of the benches, the feet of the benches sit in water. I know when we did the update to the parks on the master plan 2 years ago with the planner, that was one thing that was discussed also. And when the parks came to us to talk about redoing the trail, the engineer had sort of given his input about the way the park is planned is not exactly maybe the most correct because of the way the water runs off.
Right, there wasn't anything you could do about it. It was basically the
Right.
takeaway, right?
Yeah.
It's always going to be that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to ask that question.
as an open space person, um, you know, I knew Helene, and I think it's a fabulous foundation is going on in the, 5K, and I don't want to come off as, my view of open space is, when do we stop adding things to our open spaces? And that's my position. Like, if we add one more, then maybe one more and one more. It's not an offense
No, I
to
understand.
you and the
Yeah.
work that you've done
Yeah,
and honoring her. And, I know there's a bench to Helene in the preserve. We helped put that up, in Cranbury Brook Preserve. When does it just be open space that we can look at the trees and the
Yeah.
sculptures are up and how many more? And as, we do have the bench process. We do have ways, that the foundation could, memorialize the foundation even,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful. And I'm sure I've been to Santa Fe. I probably have seen the sky.
yeah,
But I just don't know when we
yeah.
stop adding to our open space and it just be open space, passive open space.
Yeah.
That is passive, but when is it just an
Yeah.
open space?
And I understand that. I guess I just have a different, I love art and nature together. So that's my my thought. I love walking at the grounds of sculpture. I love when, it's
I
just
get
a
it.
different, yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
like,
think it's a question of complementing open space versus impeding open space and finding that balance. I think it's probably what we're talking about, right?
And I understand completely, when do we stop? But I also think,
because this is
it
an
is a
open
little
space
bit-
for our all
right,
public,
right.
and that's why you're coming to us, because we're supposed to represent that
Right.
voice.
And
So-
exactly, I mean, as an artist myself, I mean, I know so much about what towns go through when a mural wants to go up or, whatever it is. But I also feel like those are your decisions to make each time on a case-by-case basis. And that foundation might be different than somebody else coming to you, right? This is a solid foundation that has done a lot for Cranbury. So that's my also, you have the ability to say no next time also. Right?
I love this. I think it's beautiful. I think, I understand where Barbara's coming from, but I think the idea of putting art it's a man-made park, not a complete nature preserve. So the balance of beautiful art and nature is very, to me, it's aesthetically very pleasing. So I really like this sculpture, and I think it's a good spot for it. So I'd be in favor of it. And I agree that the foundation has done so much for the town. It's such a draw for the town, for the race and for everything else they've done, all the educational support they've done. So I don't see any real drawbacks. And to Mayor Kinnear's point about memorializing individuals, I think Helene is obviously associated with it, and we do honor her legacy, but I think it's more about recognizing the contribution that the foundation has done for the town and they continue to do. So I would be in favor of it.
One of the other things too is we were talking about on the plaque that would have a QR code that goes directly to the foundation's site to look for, I think the biggest part of our foundation now is the scholar program, which we have usually about 10 students that we select from a very, very competitive pool who, they start to finish do a community service project in high school students. And those works, like if you can go on foundation site and see what these students have done and given back, it's remarkable. So that's a big piece of it to me.
I think some of the minor details like the runoff or the foundation or the actual foundation, not the foundation, we can probably work through some of those issues and alleviate some of them. I think net, I'd probably be more in support than not.
My brain, I speak to think usually, like as opposed to think to speak. But it's, you know, when you just framed it that way, it's almost feels like a gift to the community is
I
what
agree.
you're.
I was
think-
actually thinking that
I think
exact
it's
same
a
phrasing.
better way to kind of frame it. To Barbara's point, there's a big difference, and just for the public, with the pedestal kind of presence
Yeah.
versus what you just talked about is this balance of nature and art
Yeah.
and with the stone. I would just say that the pedestal one feels a little bit.
And I
like-
don't think that that's,
Yeah,
at
well,
all.
again, if we're gonna
Yeah.
vote, I think we're gonna have to be very specific
Yeah,
on what's
good,
gonna be
yeah.
installed, and that's what, like, we need to flush out. Because I feel like the rock and that stone is more of a, I don't know, it's a more cohesive embrace of the two things that you talked about, which is nature and art
Yeah.
together, which is what the wind sculptures were
Yeah.
also supposed to do, is give you that feeling of moving with the wind and nature, right? That's for the intent of them. So with that in mind, I'm more, I like the rock.
We just received this. You know, I had problems opening it. I have a hard time looking at this, you know, and I had problems with my email. So I just got it. So I'm not comfortable like making a vote right now. I'm just letting you know, okay? So
sure, yeah.
Okay, but it's still like we have the opportunity to ask questions. So if we're going to think about the project moving forward, I'm expressing my opinion that I am more agreeable to that design with the rock than that
Yeah.
pedestal approach. So that's
Yeah, I
my
agree.
opinion on the design.
But that's where you need to take into consideration that runoff. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, any, no matter what it is, I think there's the one page, even with the rock has to be, there's a certain depth that will have.
that,
the-
right.
Has to be on the
Yes.
concrete.
Yeah.
It has to be on the concrete.
There were a couple options that, at least if concrete's there, it's covered.
Yeah.
Right, and if this is a consultative discussion and we don't have to clearly vote on it at this moment, but I think as far as consultative, I would say, yeah, put the concrete pad there if it's structurally necessary and cover it, make it disappear.
Yeah.
Right, because I think I like the last two, for any of those who
Yeah.
are looking.
Yep.
Much better than anything with the exposed concrete or the giant pedestal.
Yes, and so that would have like the base too, like, yeah.
Correct, but it would be
underground.
under mulch
Yeah.
or some sort of greenery.
Which further, you know,
Yeah.
brings it,
Into symbiosis.
yeah, exactly.
And
Um,
so
yeah.
the how structurally sound is that if we do have children that are climbing this?
So we've talked to the artists about that. It is, I mean, you know, we can do whatever we want to say, please don't climb on it, but I mean, even, right, the kids are gonna climb on anything,
Kids
right? I
can
mean,
climb
they're on
trees,
top
too.
of I see them on top of the playground equipment all the time. But to that point, it's steel, it's not, and I don't know what
it would be.
Like, we don't foresee that structure breaking off at a point in any way and a child tumbling down with it. I mean, a child can certainly climb up it and fall off it. That's
Right.
gravity. But the structure itself is strong enough to withstand the climbing of a child.
Yeah, it's steel.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can certainly, whatever we need from the artist, I'm sure they would, if we needed
I
it
think it's
in
important
right,
to
you know,
find
whatever.
out. Yeah, I know that when they did the sculptures, the wind sculptures, they actually ordered it as it was. And the pole was short enough that the children could reach it, and they started playing with it and you know, getting into it kind of thing. And so immediately, the day it was installed, the next day it was removed. And then they ordered a much taller pole so that nobody could touch it after that. So it's just, we have to childproof everything, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, so if we could just, get that answer, that'd be great.
Yeah.
What's
yeah,
the height?
sure. I think it depends on
Boulder.
if you're gonna do the boulder, and you can choose the size, but it is in here. Hold on.
Yeah, it's not razor sharp, right?
No,
I'd keep them off it.
no, and they are placed in a lot of public spaces already.
Yeah.
So we're not the first one to have this. It's more, you know, I think there are several of these. There's like traveling exhibits that they do in like arboretums or places like that. So they're definitely, like when we go to them, I can also find out exactly where this has been. We could talk to them, say, was there any problems? Maybe another park or town or exhibit or something,
Yeah.
but, wait, did you get the dimensions? Did you see the dimensions? Did you
Yes,
see?
I saw that.
Okay.
84.
And is there a reason why now the foundation is interested in doing this as opposed to earlier?
No, I think we just, I think, I don't really, I also don't want to put words into Linda's mouth, but I think as we all get older too, I think the idea of this gift to the town and something that lasts
That's permanence.
his permanence for the foundation that means so much to them, to everyone. And the crane being the symbol too of hope. I think I don't think there's any real reason why now. Just the foundation is done so well too, from the races, from what we give to support the kids doing these projects. We're able to really support them. We have scholarships, we have mini grants that people have applied to for all different ages. The Skeets Pantry has now expanded for toys, and it's incredible. So I think the foundation we really have a secure
Future.
and so this seems like a logical way for some permanence, like you're saying. So, and a gift, it is a gift. And we talk about it as a gift to the town, so.
I still sit a little bit with what Mayor Kinnear said a little earlier with regards to just sort of setting precedents. I know that within the last 5 years, we also had another gentleman who lost a child that wanted something also put up. And we directed them towards the current memorial projects that the town does have sort of criteria for. And it may be something that we start discussing if we do open this up, like, is there another set of criteria that we create? That's certainly bigger than anything I could do this evening.
Yeah. Completely agree with that. Yeah. And again, receiving it today, obviously I just respect anyone who's had some challenges opening it and had the
Yeah.
proper time to do it. Just, I want to make sure that we're taking advantage of you being here and kind enough to put this together, that we ask any questions that we have that are top of mind right now.
Yeah.
And I do think that we just need to evaluate going forward.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well said. That if we do this, that, there will be other requests that come, and how are
Yeah.
we going to evaluate that, and what criteria do we put in place? Because it's unprecedented.
So would it be different if I was coming to you from the Arts Council?
It's a fair question. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair question.
So if I came to you from the Arts Council?
Yeah.
You want to come back? Would you?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I don't say that as
I just think it's,
snippy. I don't want it to come across that it's truly a question of how, just so I better understand, and I can go back to the foundation also
No, I
to
think
say.
it's, again, foundation aside, I think
Yeah.
what we're trying to say, or I'm trying to say, and to help me with my words here, but it's if someone wanted to just put in an installment and said, I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
I want to honor somebody. I have the money to do it. I'll pay for the maintenance. Then that's what will come before us again. And we need to prepare ourselves of how we would evaluate that. And because this is unprecedented.
Yeah.
And
Because
they
we
could
have
also make a
others.
foundation, and then they could also.
Well, we've had a request on the parks when I was a liaison by a coach who wanted to install something in the park, and we didn't have criteria for that either. And they too wanted to gift it. So it definitely creates another layer that we have to process, so that we are, making it sort of available to everybody in the right criteria. But again, the project is beautiful. An organization is something that is the core of, very much the core of Cranbury and Cranbury Day.
Who installed how did the art that's there now be installed?
That was through the Parks Commission. It was a project, yeah.
Okay.
It was a project by the Parks Commission members, but yeah.
Okay. And then one question that we had for you is that we work with Allen and Stoltz Insurance. That, you know, we have our own liability insurance, but is there anything that you would want to know from us for an insurance piece?
That was going to be one of my questions on the side as we process this was, okay, like kids climb things, kids fall. It's made of stainless steel cranes. Stainless steel cranes are sharp. What do we accept as the township being that it's on township land? And that's obviously something we need to look at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it will probably most likely be a follow-up question, but I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but the insurance thing went through my brain.
We as the Arts Council or the
Oh, no, no.
foundation?
The Arts Council has nothing to do with it. I'm just saying
Okay.
the foundation, this is the Helene Cody Foundation.
So it's the Helene Cody Foundation that has this insurance.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
What do they need, Denise?
It's township property, so our insurance covers anything that's on township property, even if it's gifted to us. If they have additional insurance, that just makes it better.
Mhm.
The issue is safety.
Right.
So insurance is going to say, no, you're not allowed to put it there. We have other sculptures, but how comfortable is the township committee with the safety of it? And that's something you guys will have to.
Is that something, like the insurance company will weigh in on that?
No.
No.
No, but if something happens, then the township's responsible for it.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's just another side of this that we haven't had the time
Yeah.
to flush through.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just also wondering about the open space, like in Heritage Park and what we're supposed to be putting in that park.
Well,
We
it's
just reviewed
passive
that.
recreation. This is passive, and there are other sculptures.
Okay.
So
now is our time to ask any questions. Does anyone have any other questions?
What's our next steps here? We're gonna,
I think we need to regroup and make sure that we talk about our criteria. And again, that's unfortunate for you, but again, it's
No, no.
unprecedented. We just haven't.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we need to talk about it and figure out like how we make this decision, how it would impact future decisions and those things. But it's, like I said, it's complicated to talk about things. So in that manner, when you're talking about a foundation that has given so much to this town. So I just want to make sure it's not taken away that we are being ungrateful. We just need the time to process it. I definitely had some questions around liability insurance. I did read that note in there that you
Yeah.
had your own. I still think we just need to flush that out. Because you're right, it's a safety that I have no idea how to predict that. Not that anyone can. So,
Right, and that was sort of the answer from, Brent, I know most people know them from Allen and Stoltz in Hightstown, who does our insurance, but that was sort of his take on it too, is that the township was going to have their own, exactly what you said. And that we do have the foundation also. I mean, we run the 5K, we run everything with kids, so we have, insurance.
and start to finish this, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask
I was
that. Yeah, so if it's approved and we do that at some point, you commission the work?
Yes, but it's not long. It's a month or two.
Oh, okay,
Mhm.
all right. Just trying to just figure out what we have to work with here.
and you
Okay.
guys have the funds to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we need an engineer to do anything? To place it or
no,
anything?
but we're not going to install it. They're going to have
Yeah.
to do it.
And that's, yeah, we assumed either way.
Yeah.
That's what the artist suggested, was to go to the township first, because sometimes you want it done
Yeah.
your way.
And Jerry will look at it and say, that's okay spot or not. But
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's gonna be worth it for us to walk out there and just make sure that, to your point, next rainfall, just to make sure that we're in the clear there, that it's not an area of like, heavy pooling. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we give them a timeframe?
We'll have to agree on a time frame. So what does everybody think is a reasonable time frame to evaluate this? Certainly not a day.
No,
But-
next meeting after that.
Next meeting is the 24th of February. I mean,
March.
I'm sorry, March. I mean, if we can look at the first meeting in April, does that give us enough time to physically
I think
go
that's
out
fair.
there?
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Experience to be okay.
Okay.
Is that okay with you, Barb?
Does that give you more time?
No, but we still have some discussions to go through.
That's
and
what I'm
that's-
asking.
yes, yes.
The discussions we have to go through, which we're documenting as follow-up, is a month enough time to have those discussions?
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
A month
Okay,
seems like
yeah,
plenty.
Okay.
That is the April, the first meeting
Meeting
in
in
April. Okay, second week of April,
I'm
okay.
looking right now to give you a date.
That'd be
Okay.
the
14th.
14th.
So am I coming to there? Yeah,
Yeah, in lieu of that, we can communicate back and forth as our questions come up so that on the 14th we'll be better prepared.
okay.
And we'll get those
But,
answered.
but on the April meeting, would you want me to come here? I guess I'm saying.
No, I don't think so. I think we can work
Okay.
to get it, and we'll just put it on our agenda.
Yeah.
If you want to, sure, but
Okay.
not necessary.
Great.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
What, who?
Huh?
Chief.
Oh, hi. Hi.
Hi,
We do have a department head then.
We do.
we do,
Our chief of police was hiding in the corner,
undercover.
undercover.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am going to go over the monthly report, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Address any questions you may have. I know it's a loaded statement, but, our stats are self-explanatory. Page 1. On page 2, I am trying to get not more creative, but more transparent. It's easy to say, here's the overtime hours, but why? So they change every year. I explained that last month a little bit, specifically due to the lack of manpower, but I just think there's a need to break it down. So without reinventing the wheel, I picked the top 3 categories, obviously shift coverage in its entirety. Shift extension could be anything. And then 3, which is very important, training, school, court. I apologize, on page 3, that special duty tour should have a number 3 in front of it. So I just want to bring that to your attention because of the 159 hours, nope, I apologize, of the month, 168 hours of overtime, 70 of it was for shift coverage. Or I apologize, 85 was for shift coverage, 70 was for shift extension. And then number 3, 47 and a half hours of that was for training, programs that we run. I'm trying to put storm details in there. I know we haven't thankfully had any, knock on wood. Let's not start a blizzard in March because that's happened before too.
Yeah.
But again, it's just me trying to be more transparent so that you understand it's just not a lump number. Hey, here it is. And then you have no idea where it's coming from. I do want to bring special attention to that court number. I truly feel that 31 hours is a lot for court, but these are literally just 2 midnight officers that were subpoenaed for grand jury, for criminal cases, for important cases. And guess what judges don't do, like you guys are doing right now? They don't meet at night. So it's now they're on their days off, they're on call, they get a phone, you're coming, you're going, they're subpoenaed by law, they're ordered to go. So that's a lot of the stuff that you guys aren't privy to, you don't know it, and it's not like it's being hidden, it just was never explained before. And I just personally think that that's important. If you don't want it, believe me, I'll make this a 1-page report. I'm okay with that too, but
When they go to court, is it a whole shift?
it's not a whole shift. They're meant to, they're scheduled to be there. Usually it's at 8 o'clock in New Brunswick. So they got to get there. We get them there. They could sit, they try to get police officers right away if it's for grand jury, but this was a trial. And it was waiting 6 hours. Okay, it's adjourned until tomorrow. Go there again. Okay, you're going on in 4 hours. 6 hours later, okay, it's tomorrow. And it doesn't stop. And
But
a
that
lot
then
of,
compounds the shift coverage.
not only that, but then, if it's their days off, they're getting paid overtime, right? We don't do, right. So, I mean, that number just jumped out on me in 1 month. I'm like, you know what? We're going to start reporting that. So it's a lot. It doesn't happen all the time, thankfully. A lot of the traffic in the normal every day, there was a question posed today, why are there number of stops and then the summonses don't match those number of stops? Under New Jersey state law, Title 39, which are tickets, whether it's a DUI or a parking ticket, it's all officer discretion. So if summonses can be issued for any and all of those violations, they can also be given a warning for any and all those violations. So that's the part that should have been explained a little bit better. So I apologize for that. But it definitely is officer discretion. So those numbers aren't going to match up remotely closely, in my opinion, because, you could have 600-700 stops and, you're not going to have 600-700 tickets. You could have more if they caused, but.
I had one of your guys tail me the whole way here, man. I was nervous. I was nervous tonight. 25 on the nose.
Yeah, I mean, our guys have been unbelievably active. And then also, again, you'll see, I just want to bring your attention to a lot of the NAs. The NAs are just things that I'm trying to bring to the foreground this year that were not reported last year or any years thereafter. And that was page 3, and then page 4, I apologize. And then, briefly, we had a really bad head-on crash yesterday. The Nixles went out. I have empowered every sergeant in the agency, along with the 2 lieutenants, to have access to that system. I don't want to abuse that system. There are neighboring towns, and I don't want to mention them, West Windsor, that Nixle dogs that are lost, and then dogs that are found. So I know this is tape recorded. I love you guys.
Okay.
But, I don't want to do that, because what happens is, and I'm guilty of it, West Windsor, okay.
You get
You
desensitized.
stop looking,
Yeah.
right? You stop looking. So, right. So I think that the relationship we have with our neighboring towns is invaluable. I know that we talked about this, and you guys already voted on it, and the need for increased officers. Unfortunately, yesterday there were 2 officers working, right? I had to steal 2 from South Brunswick just to close a road that was closed for 5 hours, because we have to then reconstruct this crash as if there were fatals. There were 4 occupants. Everybody went to the hospital, including 2 dogs that aren't counted in that, also went to a hospital. So these are things that, I'm not crying wolf. 2 officers working, and I have to have 2 officers at least investigate a crash, and then worry about first aid, worry about closing a road, worry about traffic that doesn't stop for anything. This was a head-on crash, 3 vehicles involved. Thankfully, we believe it was on Dye Road. Thankfully, we believe everybody's going to survive. Serious life-threatening injuries, prosecutor's office was notified. Our protocol was followed to a T. And then that neighboring town, which happened to be South Brunswick, sent 2 officers. Plainsboro sent 1. And then we requested additional help to laser the scene. They're all things that we're just not self-sufficient yet. But we're a smaller agency, and we own that. And the ground's always shifting, and it's always moving. And we're moving in the right direction. South Brunswick had a armed student in the schools, and everybody and anybody was there. And Cranbury's on the south side, and North Brunswick is on the north side. So little Cranbury can help out the big ones as well. So it's that kind of respect and relationship we need in order to do our job, because we can't do it alone. There's no way. There's no way. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, that, this will be in next month's report, the amount of hours, the shift extension, the 3 officers I had to call in just to deal with it, the officer that went to the hospital. I mean, all that overtime and all that stuff is stuff you guys don't see. And I just think it's important to be as transparent as I can, because our officers have always worked. It's just now you'll see a little bit more of how they're working.
I also think that it helps solidify when we're making a decision and during budget time on what it is or the needs that you have. This level of transparency and detail helps us make those decisions a little bit easier or smoother.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I'm never one to cry wolf. I can tell you that since we've been tracking the calls and the town's just getting bigger, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you guys that. You're all in this position because you know it's coming, and it's here, and that's not even what is yet to come. So we'll deal with that, and hopefully we're all retired by the time that happens. But I'm here. We're not going nowhere. Transition is going smoothly, and we're plugging along every day.
Chief, I'll second Lisa. The transparency is huge. Really appreciate it. I'm sure we all agree with that.
Yeah.
And I will second the great partnership with the neighbors.
Yeah.
Neighboring
Can't do it without
departments. Just a great illustration yesterday of that.
Yep, absolutely.
When you have that type of mutual aid, we don't pay for that, right?
We don't. They actually pay overtime
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that township is well-run, well-funded, but that chief and our wonderful clerk can attest, does not pay overtime. And I got a phone call, had a 20-minute conversation and thanked him up and down, and he said, "You're over 2." He goes, "I'm keeping tally." So I was over 3, but we made up a little bit on that other one. So it was playful banter, but I just thanked him and appreciated everything he did for us. There's just no way until we get the resources here to do it. And even when we did, it still wasn't enough. That road is so big.
Yeah.
We closed it from 130 all the way to Scott's Corner. I mean, and you figure everything in between because we're shooting that as if someone is going to either die or will die. And that's how we have to treat it based on our protocol. So it was closed for the better part of almost 5 hours. So just one little thing. If anybody has any questions, if not, I know you're busy and it's late and it's hot in here.
No.
Denise is probably happy, but that's about the only one.
Yeah.
Very good detail.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome.
Thank you.
Oh,
And I
one
think we're
last
getting
thing,
a better
and
understanding.
I don't want to steal the Municipal Alliance's thunder. Cops lost. However,
Yeah.
we had our first annual, and I was already invited next year to partake again.
You're
Yeah.
gonna-
So I'm going to let everyone know here.
Are you in
because I was,
training?
well, I refed it. So
Ah,
I
that's
came,
right, you were in
and
the
the
black
deputy
and
chief
white.
of South Brunswick ref for me, and I had one of my state trooper buddies. We all in our own ref league association, NJSIA. I had one of my sergeants say, "Chief, were we really supposed to win?" I said, "Next year we're winning."
So
Because
part of the-
those little kids are bragging up and down.
So on your report, or is basketball training going to
It's
be a line
definitely-
item?
I
on
don't
your
know about
monthly
training,
report now?
definitely. I'm gonna have to budget for uniforms. Like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna ref or manage.
All of a sudden, there's a hoop up in their
Yeah.
parking lot.
It's
I
actually
see.
not a bad idea. We should
Yeah,
think about
yeah.
that. It's good
Taking-
exercise.
Taking down middle schoolers. It's ambitious. It's
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I missed it. I was out of
Yeah,
town.
that's
I was
okay.
very
Next
upset.
year. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a great event. I'm telling you, I've refed there before in my association as a middle school, high school basketball referee, and I have never seen a gym that literally every seat was taken, and then every floor to the baseline. I've never seen anything like it in my life. That gym's not small.
No.
It's a middle school.
Yeah.
There wasn't a
This is
seat to be.
fundraiser, right?
It was a fundraiser for the American Heart Association. The school did all the fundraising, and my
So it sounds
understanding.
successful.
Yeah, it was very successful. So
Great.
It's
and I just-
baseball season, so batter up, buddy.
yeah, that's where I draw the line. I played my whole life. No, I'm not
My daughter's
it's
an
too
ump.
hot.
My
I'm not-
daughter's an ump. She can
Yeah.
ump that game.
Oh, it's hot. Yeah. But yeah, I just think that was very successful. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm in chief training from the 17th. It's mandatory for any new chief till the 21st. So I don't know that I'll be able to be at the Municipal Alliance, but I will send a lieutenant if I can't make it.
Thanks, Chief.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you, everyone.
to see you.
Have a wonderful night.
Thanks. Okay. All right. Do we have any follow-up items? None?
I was supposed to find out about doggy bags, but
Oh, yeah. How'd you do on that?
I'm not very good.
No? Okay.
I was out of the country.
Forgot about your poop patrol.
I'll bring it up at Parks and see if they have anything.
I'm going to see if I can use this tonight. Okay. All right. Boards and commissions. We're working this list down a little bit, but we need some environmental commission love here. We've got 3 openings on environmental commission, a full membership, the first and the second alternate. We can make a goal for the full member. Like, I think that's the most critical. So again, we can spread the word. Municipal Alliance, there's a second alternate, and we still have a full membership on Shade Tree, but we are chipping away. Yeah. Okay. We'll move on to ordinances. Can I get a motion to, oh, wait, yeah, first reading, sorry.
Okay, so we're going to, for first reading, will be Cranbury Township Ordinance Number 03-24-04, which is a bond ordinance providing for the various capital improvements of the Township of Cranbury in the County of Middlesex, appropriating $2,150,950 therefore funding $107,548 and authorizing the issuance of 2,043,402 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. And this is introduction. We need a motion for introduction. Second.
So moved. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We're going to move on to roll call for the introduction, which will be Mr. Christopher,
Yes.
Ms. Selbadawi,
Yes.
Dr. Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mayor Knierim.
Yes.
Thank you. That's unanimous. Introduced. And second reading is March 24th.
Okay. We have no second readings tonight, so we'll move on to consent resolutions. Can I have a motion to move A through F
I
of our
will-
resolutions?
I will move consent resolutions A through F.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll do roll call. Mr. Christopher,
Yes.
Mrs. Selbadawi,
Yes.
Dr. Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mayor Knierim.
Yes.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to public comment. We're going to try to pull some language. Barbara, I think you made a great request last time to kind of set the stage for what public comment is. It truly is our time to listen to any of the concerns from the public. It is not a Q&A session, so please don't take our lack of response as being rude, but it is really, truly your time for us to listen to you. Is there any member of the public that would like to speak? Mark? And sorry, as a reminder, thank you, Barbara, 3 minutes, and your time will start when the first word,
After you say your name.
after you say your name.
I've gotten pretty good.
Yeah, you are.
Good evening, everyone. I guess I have one question that was brought on by comments earlier, and then I'll read my formal letter. For volunteer groups in town, is there a mechanism that we can present comments and have a discussion as we just did with the foundation? Would that be better instead of just doing a comment
You mean from public comment?
from public? In other words, I'm going to present something from the historical side. I'd like to have a discussion as you do with the Helene Cody Foundation. So do we ask them to be on the agenda as a,
Yeah, you would formally request to be on the agenda, and then we would add it under department or, subcommittee or department.
Or a presentation.
Or a work session.
Or a work session, and then be provided a presentation ahead of time so that the TC has ample time to review it. So that
Okay.
would be that same process that we went through just now.
I think that would be more beneficial than me reading a letter and handing it out. And
Totally agree.
okay, good. So we'll do that in the future. So this is a letter that I will hand out to everyone for record. Again, representing the Historical Society. I'm also a little disappointed. We only had one member of committee at our presentation yesterday. I think we would be more than happy to present it to the committee and the public at large to understand the last 50 years of preservation, past, current, and future. So I'll be happy to do that again, should you wish to hear it. In October of last year, we appeared before Township Committee to present our concerns about the potential demolition or demolition by request of the historic house located on Plainsboro Road, commonly called the Dancer House. This circa 1860 farmhouse is located on a parcel known as Block 25, Lot 1201. Our letter of October 28th is attached for your reference, especially since there is one new Township Committee member. Also, a photo of the building is attached. Since that time, we have not had any response to our request or if any action has been taken. We again ask for your support to take action to continue to preserve the historic building. A formal request is appreciated. And based upon what we said, if you'd like to have this as a work session in the future, we could do that. So thank you. If you want to ask questions, I'm here to ask them or answer them. But so for your reference are the copies. And this is a photo of the house.
Thanks, Mark.
So thank you.
Thank you. Are there other members of the public that would like to make a comment?
You have to turn it on till it turns red and stays red. Yeah, like go the other side then. There you go. There you go.
Just
Yep,
state your name.
Hi, my name is Kathy Jani, Jani. I've lived in Cranbury for 40 years now, and I very much appreciate the historical nature of our town. Been involved with the Cranbury Historical and Preservation Society for a number of years, and currently a trustee. I've participated in different groups in the town, political and otherwise. And this is a great town. And thank you for all your work. And I appreciate that you'll focus on what Mark has talked about with his letter. It's an important issue. And I think you have an obligation to look at this. So thank you for listening to me. Another question I have relating to what you said. If the public time is a time for a statement, what format can be used by the public to ask a question and to have it be answered by you?
Yeah, you can communicate email or through email, a letter, a personal conversation. Those are all ways that you can reach out. In this format, and we allow public comment, but we're not, it's not a Q&A, it's not a back and forth.
Do you think,
If we're able to answer a question in its simplicity, we will try to do that. But
Okay.
we just like to set the expectation that it's not a Q&A.
okay, thank you for that response. Do you think that you might consider at any time that there could be value in answering questions more thoroughly than what you just explained? Because it's a time when the public could hear the response and hear the interaction. I think that creates a very valuable scenario. And it also may increase public interest in what you're doing, because there used to be, I think, more people who would come to the township meetings. And I'm sure you have your own reasons for making that decision, but maybe you would reconsider it, because I think it has a lot of value.
Yeah, there are many times that we have a topic that gets raised here, and if you look and consistently look at our agendas when they're
Mhm.
published, you'll see working sessions that from time to time.
Right.
There is more of a, I would say, there's time for public comment during those
Mhm.
working sessions, and
Mhm.
you'll get a lot of your questions probably answered during that time.
Okay.
So if you see something that you're interested, or a topic like that comes up in a working session, I would say and encourage it. I wouldn't encourage many more people to be in this room right now due to the temperature, but we were always happy to have more members of the public attend our meetings in
Yeah.
person and be engaged in whatever the issue is. So thank you for even being here this evening.
Right, I appreciate that. And when I was on the school board for 9 years and president for 6 years, and on the planning board for a number of years, we did answer questions more thoroughly. And I guess I'm just a bit surprised at this current methodology. So I would appreciate just kind of assessing it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else from the public? Okay, seeing none, we'll close this portion of our meeting, which is the public comment portion. And then we are going to move into a closed session. Now, no action is going to be taken after the closed session, so the members of the public don't need to hang around after that. But we do need a motion to go into our closed session.
I'll move into closed.
Can I get a second? Thank you.
And then we move on to roll call for that that resolution. Mr. Christopher?
Yes.
Ms. Salvadori?
Yes.
Dr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Kinnear?
Yes.
Okay, please hold. So we have everything, everybody shut. Microphones.